If you see this, you're already in danger, and that tiny window hole you've ignored on every flight, there's a terrifying reason it exists that nobody talks about. From what actually happens when a plane flies upside down to the secret bedroom hiding right above your head, we're pulling back the curtain on 11 secrets the aviation industry hopes you never discover. You've seen the images. A commercial airliner suspended mid-air, belly to the sky. Your brain screams impossible. Physics disagrees. In 1955, a Boeing 707 test pilot barrel-rolled the aircraft during a public demonstration. A 2012 NASA study confirmed a large commercial airframe can hold inverted flight for over 60 seconds. Wings generate lift from angle of attack, not which side faces the ground. The flight computers would fight it, and you'd experience brutal negative G-forces. But structurally, the fuselage holds. No pilot is ever trying this with you on board. But the physics absolutely checks out. Look out the window on your next flight. See those white streaks trailing behind the engines. The internet calls them chemtrails, government chemicals sprayed on an unsuspecting population. Here's the much simpler truth. Those trails are condensation, water vapor crystallizing around jet exhaust particles at high altitude. Hot engine gases meet -40-degree air, and just like your breath on a cold morning, they turn visible. Some trails vanish instantly, others linger for hours. That difference comes down to atmospheric humidity, not a secret program. Sorry, conspiracy theorists. It's just physics at 35,000 feet. You're settling into your economy seat, barely enough room to cross your legs, and directly above you, locked behind an unmarked door, there's a full bedroom with lie-flat beds. These crew rest compartments are on nearly every long-haul aircraft. A narrow staircase or ladder leads to a windowless pod with bunks, blankets, and privacy curtains. Pilots and flight attendants take mandatory rest breaks there during flights over 8 hours. It's not a luxury perk, it's policy. A tired crew is a dangerous crew. Next time you're crammed into row 38, know someone is sleeping comfortably right above your head. Look at your window. You'll notice a microscopic hole at the bottom. It seems like a manufacturing defect. It's anything but. That tiny hole is called a breather hole, and it's the reason your window doesn't explode at altitude. Airplane windows have 3 layers of acrylic. The outer pane takes the full pressure load. The middle pane has that hole, which regulates pressure between the layers and prevents fogging. The inner pane you can touch isn't structural at all. Your window isn't one piece of glass. It's an engineered pressure management system. That little hole you've never noticed, it's the only reason you can breathe while looking at the clouds. The captain and first officer are legally forbidden from eating the same in-flight meal. It's not about preference or seniority. It's a fail-safe. If the chicken is contaminated and both pilots eat it, you have 0 people able to land the plane. They must be served different meals from completely separate trays, prepared and packaged independently. Some airlines go further. Pilots eat at staggered times, and many bring their own food entirely. Your salad could literally take down both pilots. Not exactly comforting, but effective. Picture this. You're in turbulence, rain hammering the fuselage, and suddenly a blinding white flash, followed by a deafening crack. Your plane just got struck by lightning. It happens roughly once per year per commercial aircraft. Every single plane in service has been hit, likely multiple times. And here's the part that sounds like a lie. Nothing happens. The aluminum skin acts as a Faraday cage, channeling the electrical current around the fuselage and out the tail. You might see the flash, you might hear the boom, but the wiring, the fuel tanks, the avionics, all shielded. Planes are designed to take lightning strikes and keep flying, every single time. You know the sounds. A single ding after takeoff, 2 dings mid-flight, maybe a triple chime you've never heard before. These aren't random. They're a crew communication system none of us were meant to crack. A single chime usually means a passenger pressed the call button. 2 chimes, that's the cockpit signaling the cabin. Takeoff complete, you're clear to move. A triple chime or high-low tone, that's a priority message. And depending on the airline, it could mean anything from a medical emergency to severe turbulence warning. Every chime has a meaning, and the crew knows exactly what each one says. Next time you hear that double ding, now you know. It's the pilots talking. But back to the cabin itself, because there's something else you've seen and never questioned. Look above the windows on your next flight. You'll spot small black triangles, maybe 4, maybe 6, aligned with specific rows. Most passengers never notice them. These triangles mark what flight attendants call the William Shatner seat. the position with the clearest view of the wing and engines. During walk-around inspections and in-flight visual checks, crew members stand at these exact spots to scan for ice buildup, damage, or fluid leaks. They're placed where the wing's leading edge and engine are most visible from inside the cabin. It's not decoration, it's an inspection station disguised as part of the interior. You're in the lavatory thinking you have privacy. You don't. On every commercial aircraft, the bathroom door can be unlocked from the outside in seconds. Beneath the lavatory sign, there's a hidden latch mechanism. Slide it, and the door opens, regardless of whether you've turned the lock. Flight attendants know this, pilots know this, and now you know this. The stated reason is safety. The crew needs access if a passenger has a medical emergency inside. The unstated reason is security. Nothing on a plane is truly private, not even the bathroom. You've heard the urban legend. Someone flushes at 35,000 feet, and frozen blue waste plummets through someone's roof. Here's the truth. Modern aircraft use a vacuum system that pulls waste into a sealed tank in the rear fuselage. On landing, ground crews connect a hose and pump it all out, the same way an RV gets serviced. Nothing leaves the plane mid-flight. The blue liquid in those stories is de-icing chemical that occasionally leaks and freezes at altitude. Airplanes do not dump toilets over your house. The tank stays sealed until the ground crew at the gate. On the subject of things you hope never happen on your flight, this last one is the secret crews train for, but never speak about. Passengers die on planes more often than you think, roughly once every 50,000 flights. When it happens, the body cannot simply be left where it is. Crews are trained to move the deceased to an empty row, ideally in business class, where there's more privacy, cover them with a blanket, and secure the seatbelt. On long-haul flights, some wide-body aircraft have a designated storage compartment for exactly this scenario. Flight attendants refer to it informally as the corpse cupboard. The passengers nearby are reseated, the family is quietly moved, and the flight continues to its destination, because at 35,000 feet, there's simply nowhere else to go.
Let's start with something that catches people off guard at the gate before they even board. You're sitting near your departure gate, your phone is at 12%, and you spot a USB charging port on the seat panel. Perfect timing, right? Not exactly. Public USB ports, both at gates and on seat backs, can be compromised using a technique called juice jacking. You plug in to charge your phone. The port reads your device. Your data moves without a single notification on your screen. You think you're charging your phone. You might be charging someone's Intel file. The fix is simple. Use AC wall outlets only, or carry a charge-only cable that transfers power, but physically cannot transfer data. They're cheap, they're small, and they're worth every penny on travel days. Okay, you've probably heard a version of this one before, but stay with me, because most people only know half the story. Studies show tray tables carry more bacteria per square inch than the lavatory flush button. They get wiped down once a day at most, not between every flight. The last passenger who sat in your seat? They may have eaten on it, sneezed on it, or yes, changed a diaper on it. But here's the part nobody talks about. Even if you wipe the tray surface down, which you should, there is one spot that almost never gets cleaned: the latch. Every single passenger before you press that latch with bare fingertips. It's recessed, it's easy to overlook, and it gets touched hundreds of times per flight. Cleaning crews will wipe the flat surface. The latch? Almost never. So you sanitize the table and completely forget the one thing you touched to open it in the first place. Fix. Use one knuckle or your sleeve to pop the latch open. Then, sanitize your hands immediately after. 2 seconds. Huge difference on a long haul. This one is going to change how you fly, I promise. The moment that seatbelt sign clicks off, the whole cabin relaxes. People stand up, move around, laptops open. Everything feels fine. But here's what pilots actually know. The highest turbulence risk window is the 20 minutes after the sign goes off, not during takeoff, not during landing. That calm, quiet cruise phase, that's statistically when unexpected turbulence hits hardest. The sign turning off is a legal minimum. It is not a safety clearance. The habit to build? Keep your seatbelt loosely buckled and visible over your clothing even when the sign is off. It costs you nothing, and it is the single easiest thing you can do to protect yourself mid-flight. This one tends to make people angry, and honestly, that reaction is completely fair. Airlines legally sell more seats than exist on every major domestic route. This is not a glitch. This is not a system error. It is a deliberate revenue model built on statistical no-show rates. The airline knows a certain percentage of booked passengers won't show up, so they oversell to make sure every seat is filled. You were always part of that math. They just never told you. What you can do? Check in the moment your window opens. And know you're denied boarding rights. If you are involuntarily bumped in the US, you are entitled to compensation under Department of Transportation rules. The airlines will not volunteer that information at the gate. Now, you know to ask for it. Show of hands, who has genuinely celebrated landing early? Yeah, same. But here's the reality. Since the 1990s, airlines have been quietly padding scheduled flight times by 15 to 30 minutes on most routes. When your flight arrives early, what actually happened is the padding absorbed whatever delay occurred and the numbers lined up. You were not early, they just told you that. Next time, download FlightAware and check real-time block times against what was scheduled. Once you start doing this, you will never look at an early arrival announcement the same way again. Reclining your seat is legal, expected, and completely built into the design. This is not about being polite, it's about timing. Reclining during meal service traps the person behind you with zero usable tray space and zero warning. Their coffee tips. Their tray is pinned. Their $14 airport sandwich is now in their lap. One quick check over your shoulder before you recline costs you nothing. Waiting until meal service clears costs you nothing. But getting it wrong can genuinely ruin someone else's flight and probably their mood for the next 3 hours. Flight attendants will walk the aisle before takeoff and landing and ask you to raise your window shade. Most people just do it, but almost nobody knows why. If something goes wrong during takeoff or landing, emergency responders need to see inside the cabin before opening any doors. They're assessing fire, debris, passenger positioning, all through those windows. Your shade being up gives them the information they need to act faster. It is not about the view, it is about what happens when the view suddenly becomes very, very important. This one is going to make you rethink your in-flight coffee. The coffee, the tea, the hot water for instant noodles, and the water from the lavatory tap. All of it comes from the same onboard water tank. EPA testing has found coliform bacteria in aircraft water systems on routine inspections. Not every plane. Not every time. But enough that this is absolutely worth knowing. The coffee isn't just bad because it's airline coffee. It's partly what's in the water it was made with. Stick to bottled water and canned drinks. Skip the hot beverages entirely. That's the move. Last one. And it's a quick one, but it will stick with you. The flight attendant call button is one of the least cleaned surfaces on the entire plane. Every passenger, every row, every flight reaches for it. Almost nobody thinks about what and who reached for it before them. Use it when you genuinely need to. That's what it's there for. But sanitize your hands immediately after pressing it and stop touching your face until you do. Small habit, big payoff.
Flight. Let's start with something almost every traveler does without thinking twice. You sit down in your seat, you see a USB port on the seatback screen or on the armrest, and you plug in your phone to charge. It feels convenient. It feels like the airline is doing you a favor. But that port is a data transfer point. It's not just sending power to your phone. It's capable of sending and receiving data. And there's a growing threat called juice jacking, where modified USB ports or compromised entertainment systems can siphon information from your device the moment it connects. We're talking about malware installation, password theft, and in some cases, full device cloning. The fix is dead simple. Buy a data blocker dongle. It's sometimes called a USB condom, which is a hilarious name, but it literally blocks the data pins on the USB connection while still allowing power through. They cost about $5. Or even easier, just bring your own power brick and plug into the AC outlet instead. Never trust a public USB port. Not at the airport, not on the plane, not anywhere. This one is going to upset a lot of people, and I get it because everyone loves travel leggings. But your comfortable athleisure outfit made of polyester, nylon, or spandex could be genuinely dangerous in a cabin fire. Cabin fires are the #1 survival threat in aviation incidents. And Here's what most passengers don't know. Synthetic fabrics don't burn the way natural fabrics do. They melt, they shrink wrap onto your skin and fuse with it, causing burns that are exponentially harder to treat than a regular burn. Surgeons have described it as trying to remove fabric that has literally become part of the body. The solution is natural fibers: cotton, wool, linen, denim. These fabrics char instead of melting, which gives you more time to move and more protection while you're doing it. I'm not saying you need to fly in a wool suit, but maybe think twice about head-to-toe synthetic athleisure on your next long-haul flight. During a rough landing or an emergency, you're told to brace. Most people plant their feet flat on the floor directly under their knees. That feels natural. That feels stable. It's also how you break both your legs. In a high-impact scenario, your legs will fly forward. If your feet are planted directly under your knees, your shins will slam straight into the metal baggage bar underneath the seat in front of you. 2 broken shins. And now you can't walk. And now you can't evacuate. And that's when a survivable crash becomes something much worse. The fix takes 2 seconds. Slide your feet back as far as possible, tucking them underneath your own seat. This keeps your shins completely clear of that metal bar, so that if impact happens, your legs stay intact, and you can actually stand up and walk off the plane. When's the last time you actually checked if your life vest was under your seat? Most people assume it's there because, well, why wouldn't it be? Because people steal them. It's a disturbingly common souvenir for drunk tourists and bored passengers. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Maintenance crews don't check every single vest between every single flight. There is a real possibility that the pouch under your seat is empty right now. The moment you sit down, reach underneath and physically touch the pouch. If it feels full and firm, you're good. If it feels flat or empty, tell the crew immediately. Tell them before the door closes. Finding out your life vest is missing while you're evacuating over water is not the time to discover this problem. This one completely changed how I board a plane. When you walk through the cabin door and the flight attendant smiles and says hello, you probably think they're just being polite. They're not. They're scanning you. Flight crews are trained to assess every single passenger as they board. They're looking for ABPs, which stands for able-bodied passengers. They're checking if you appear intoxicated, if you look physically fit, if you seem alert, or if something feels off. They are mentally building their emergency team in real time as you walk past them. So here's what I do now. I make eye contact, I smile, I look alert. If you're marked as someone they can count on, you tend to get better service during the flight, and in a real emergency, they'll trust you enough to give you direction. First impressions matter everywhere, including at 35,000 feet. You've heard the announcement 1,000 times. Put your own mask on before helping others. Most people assume that's just a polite suggestion. It's not. It's math. At cruising altitude, if the cabin loses pressure, you have somewhere between 15 and 30 seconds of useful consciousness. That's it. After that window closes, you don't gradually feel sleepy. You don't get a warning. Your brain simply stops working. You'll feel fine 1 second and be completely unconscious the next. If you spend 20 of those seconds fumbling with your child's mask first, you pass out, and then your child is sitting next to an unconscious parent with nobody to help either of you. Mask yourself instantly, then help everyone around you. It's not selfishness. It's the only way both of you survive. Last one, and this is the one that genuinely grossed me out. The drink cart comes around. You order a soda or a cocktail. You watch them scoop ice into your cup. It looks perfectly normal. That ice was not made from bottled water. It was made from the plane's onboard water tank. And EPA studies have found that these tanks are almost never cleaned properly. 1 in 8 commercial aircraft fails basic water safety standards for bacteria, including coliform and E. coli. And if you're thinking the alcohol in your gin and tonic will kill whatever is in the ice, it won't. The alcohol content in a mixed drink is nowhere near strong enough to sterilize contaminated water. You are essentially drinking from a tank that hasn't been properly cleaned at 35,000 feet. The fix is simple. Never order ice. Ask for the can or the bottle. Drink at room temperature if you have to. If it didn't come from a sealed factory container, don't put it in your body. From the clothes that melt to the ice that makes you sick, a lot of what happens on a plane is designed around the airline's efficiency, not your safety. Now you know better, but protecting your body is only half the battle. If you're still carrying cash through airport security, you might be walking into a legal trap that most travelers have never even heard of. I made an entire video breaking down exactly how it works and what to say if it happens to you. I'll put it right here on the screen. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join us back here for more travel tips and hacks each week. and I will see you in that next video soon. Bye.